Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2015, and this is episode 6 of Serenova Crafts. I'm your host, Jessica, and the first thing I'm going to point out to you is that Koki's actually in the room. Oh, and she walked away! In the 3 seconds I looked at the camera, like after I hit record. She was sitting there when I hit record, and then I talked to the camera for, 5 seconds? And then I turned back, she's gone. Of course. I don't know, she always disappears when I start recording. She'll be in the room as soon as I hit the record button. She's gone. Anyways, I'm your host, Jessica. I can be found as Serenova on Ravelry, Twitter. I am Serenova_Phoenix on Instagram, and you can find my blog at myknittinglife.wordpress.com. As I said, this is episode 6, and it's going to be a short one because I don't actually have much to talk about. I've been working full-time since I recorded last week, and so that's actually like really severely cut into my knitting time. I mean, of course, like you would think that would be a very obvious thing, that it would cut into your knitting time, but of course, like it didn't click that, hey, if I'm on the computer working for 8 hours a day, not 9 hours a day, all of a sudden, I can't knit for those 8-9 hours that I've been knitting. So, yeah. Not terribly productive, but I do have a little bit of progress on some stuff to show you. So first off, let's see. I'm going to go out of order from my notes here for a split second. I got in on a test knit for the, oh crap, which podcast is it? I follow way too many podcasts and bloggers and knitters, and I can never remember who it is. Come on, Ravelry load. There we go. The Entirely Crafty podcast. The host of that, who is, I'm blanking on her name. She sent me an email with the information in it. Oh my God. Lindsay, the host of the Entirely Crafty podcast, is having people test knit sock patterns for her so she can release them this spring. And I volunteered, and I got the message earlier this week. I got it on Friday last week, that I got in. I'm a test knitter. So I pulled some unnamed white fingering from stash. Now, this wasn't originally my stash, and I don't know what it is because I didn't buy it. One of the ladies, months ago, I think this was in the spring or the summer, I mean, it's been a while since this happened, had a huge bag of scraps. And I'm making a beekeeper's quilt, which is a bunch of little hexapuffs. You know the little puffy hexagonal things that everybody makes? Yeah, so I could use a bag of like fingering scraps. Of course, they're not all fingering, but there's stuff like this, which I only need to make one sock to test knit the pattern because it's a sock. You have to make 2 of them, but it's the same pattern for both. So this, I'll totally get one sock out of this, especially at my gauge, though I am going to try to get her gauge because I am test knitting the pattern, and thus it needs to be exact, or as close as I can manage. So in the spirit of test knitting, I'm going to actually try to get gauge instead of just doing my normal sock gauge. And so I have this unnamed, but it is a fingering weight, and it is like this off-white creamy color. Honestly, I don't even know what fiber this is. It doesn't feel like acrylic. It doesn't smell woolly at all, so I can't tell. It's probably some kind of superwash nylon blend. It has the feel of other blends, but it's actually a little soft, so it could be just superwash. Either way, it's a fingering weight, and I think it'll work for this. So, yeah, that's what this is for. So now I'm actually going to go in order of my notes. Because I touched the lid on this. I'm doing a, like one of those like 5-year journals where you write a line every day, but it's the same. So you have a question for the day, and you write down your like 1-sentence response, and you have it for every day of the year, and then you do it for 5 years. Now, I didn't go and buy one because it was actually cheaper to like buy the 5-pack of like 100 stacks of index cards and like the box to make it myself. So here's the box. I keep it right next to the computer so I remember to do it. There's all my index cards separated by months. I've actually been good. I've been keeping up with it. And so I think I'll actually be able to do this. But the reason I'm talking about this, when I haven't mentioned it at all before, even though I started this back in January, is because the team at Amazon on our last day of training gave us little stickers. And I put the sticker on the box because if I put the sticker on my work computer, I would eventually have to give it back and I wouldn't get to keep the sticker. But this box that I'm keeping my index cards for my 5-year journal in is mine. I'm keeping it, and I wanted to keep the sticker. So I have my speech at Amazon sticker, because that's the program we're working at. I'm working on as a contractor. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I've had a runny nose all morning. Anyways, some other good news. I have a Nook. In fact, I've had a Nook for years. My aunt, as a graduation present when I got my associate's degree back in 2010, got me the original Nook, which had the e-ink screen and then the little touch screen at the bottom. And it actually still works, but it was getting a little out of date. It had slowed down a lot. And so when I graduated with my bachelor's degree in May, well, I graduated December 2013, but I walked in May of 2014. Excuse me, this is not a good morning for me. And I yelled too. What's with me this morning? So I walked in May of 2014, and that's when I got like all my gifts and everyone, like lots of cash. Because nobody ever knows what to give me. So cash. Or gift certificates or whatever. And so I got myself a new Nook, the HD Plus, which of course like 2 months later they came out with the Samsung Galaxy Tab Nook, which is just like, really? But anyways, I like my Nook HD Plus, and I can sideload books onto it using a program called Calibri. I need to make a note to put that in my show notes. Come on, stupid keyboard. Sorry, I'm trying to do 3 things at once. But Calibri is a program that lets you like take PDFs that you have that aren't necessarily in like an ebook format and put them on an e-reader. But it only works on like the Nook and other stuff that's like Android based, because Android is open source. But like you can't do it with like an iPad because Apple locks down their hardware and their software. So it's a little, you can't use it for everything, but I really like it, and like I have PDFs and stuff and that I can then put onto it and read. Like I can put like my knitting book PDFs, like the stuff I've bought in a digital format from say Interweave. I can, or Amazon or Ravelry, like mini books of patterns, pattern collections, 3 or 4 patterns, or an ebook download from Interweave. Those come in a PDF format. And so instead of like downloading them directly to the Nook, I can instead import them through Calibri as an ebook, where if I just download the PDF, the Nook doesn't realize it's an ebook because it's a PDF, but if you go through Calibri, it'll know it's an ebook, and then you can use it like an ebook instead of like a PDF, because the Nook does handle a PDF and an ebook differently. But anyways, Calibri is a great program, and it's free too. Yay! Free stuff. I like free stuff. So anyways, to my actual show notes now. But I didn't finish what I was saying about my Nook. I am all over the place today. I apologize. Anyways, the reason I mentioned my Nook in the first place was that I was having problems with it a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't charging. And so I went to Barnes & Noble, because they do have an in-store like Nook thing, and the physical Nook itself, when plugged into their charger, charged, which meant that there was nothing wrong with the actual device. It was something with my cord. So through the warranty, because the thing's less than a year old, they ordered me a new cord. However, the brick, the plug part that goes into the wall didn't come. It was just the cord, the USB cord. And then I tried, it still wasn't charging with the new cord. So that made me think it was the brick. So I finally managed to get back yesterday to Barnes & Noble, because with all the snow we've had and everything, it's been really hard to get over there. And plus I've been working, and I was going into Cambridge and everything, and I'm like, by the time I got home from Cambridge tonight, I didn't want to go to Barnes & Noble and deal with this thing. So when I went to my knitting group yesterday, which meets at Barnes & Noble, after we broke up to leave, I just went over to the Nook place and dealt with it. So the guy yesterday was really good. He plugged in my Nook to their cord and confirmed that yes, it does charge with their cord. He then tried the new cord with their brick, and it worked. He tried my old cord with their brick, and it worked. He tried both of my cords with my brick, and it didn't work. So process of elimination, my brick was busted. So apparently they just keep a drawer of them behind the counter, because he opened a drawer, pulled out a brick, tested it, said, okay, this works, handed it to me and said, okay, you're all set. So I got a new brick. And he took my old one so that I didn't get confused. He took my old one and got rid of it. So yay, my nook works. Now onto my show notes. It's going to be one of those days. I'm sorry. And I said there was nothing much this week, and I've already rattled for almost 11 minutes. So my February socks, which are in this bag, I've put a couple of inches on them since last week. Like I said, these are what I've been focusing on the most, actually, because these do have a deadline of 2.5 weeks from now. So I need to finish this sock and then knit another sock in 2.5 weeks. And it's already been a week and a half. So goal, finish this sock. So here it is. There you go. Now you can see the colors, but unfortunately I have to pull it back so you can see the length. I'm actually getting pretty close to the heel. Another 2 inches or so, and I'll do the heel. These are coming out a little loose, which surprises me because my gauge on socks has been pretty steady for a while, but I'm planning to use them as house socks anyway, so house socks being a little loose doesn't bother me. Because the yarn is 100% superwash merino. It doesn't have any nylon in it. And the last pair of 100% superwash merino socks I used as, like, socks I put in my shoes, I wore through the toes in, like, 3 wearings. And I still need to darn them. They're sitting on my shelf with, like, my yarn stuff, and I need to darn them, and I just haven't yet. So yeah, those are just going to be, like, house socks. And I'm working from home now, so I don't actually have to wear shoes a lot. And Kevin and I don't actually wear shoes in our apartment. We, like, stash them by the front door when we come in. So yeah, they're house socks. So next, I have reached the halfway point on my hitchhiker. I literally hit the knot, which I don't mind having a knot in this connecting the 2 balls because it's garter stitch, and once I trim the ends of the knot, you're not going to see it. So yeah, so I actually hit the halfway point. You can see the little, I'm going to trim them. Once it's blocked, I'm going to trim them. You can see the little things. So here it is, the halfway point. So it's actually getting really wide at this point. And it's getting long. But because the rows are getting, like, really long at this point, sorry, there was fuzzies on it. I think this second ball is going to go a lot quicker in terms of rows than the first ball. Because you add, I can't say the number of stitches because it's paid for pattern, but you add stitches with every, which obviously because it's gross, you add stitches with every pattern repeat. Even though you're binding off to make the teeth, you still have a cumulative increase over the entire 8-row, let's say it's an 8-row repeat, over the entire 8, because you can count the garter stitch rows on people's projects, so that's not giving much away. So you have a cumulative increase in stitch number. So once you get to this point, it actually really starts adding up, and the rows really start eating yarn. So in terms of length of the shawl, this second ball isn't going to add nearly as much as the first ball did. But that's just the way it works because it's asymmetric, starts out really narrow, it gets really wide. And yeah, hit the halfway point on that. Yay! No quilting progress. No weaving progress. No spinning progress. Like I said, it has been a very slow week because I have been working. And I'm still getting, like, worn out at the end of the day because I'm not, again, it's going to take me, I think, another week or so to really be on that work schedule and be used to working. Because when you're not working, yeah, you're up and you're awake and you're doing stuff, but it doesn't have the energy demands of actually working and concentrating for 8 or 9 or 10 hours a day. So I think it's going to take me a little more time to get used to it. And until then, I'm going to be really tired on the weekend, so I'm not going to be that productive. But I'm hoping sometime this week or this weekend to warp my loom and get that other scarf going. Because I still have the yarn for it. I want to make it. I want to weave. My catkin. I do have some progress on my catkin. Mainly because I knit on this project night at my LYS on Friday. I did add I did an increase row, and then I added another of the cream stripes, which is a garter stripe, because it's all stockinette, which you can see plain as day, so I'm not giving away anything. It's stockinette, and then you have the garter stripes. And so I added another garter stripe, and the rows are actually getting pretty long. We're talking like, 100 plus stitches, so it takes me a little while to do a row. And I actually purl slower than I knit, so on the coming back on the stockinette, it takes me longer than the knit. So, but I'm making that one. I'm hoping for steady progress on. None of these have particular due dates other than the February socks, which I want to get done this month because they're my February socks, and I want to be able to start my March socks on March 1st, not like March 5th. So the only thing that has a deadline is the February socks. The test knitting technically has a deadline, but she wants to release the pattern in March, so if I finish one sock by the beginning of March, I'm good. So that's, okay, so I have 2.5 socks I need to knit before the end of the month. But that's not bad as long as I really concentrate on it, and that's when I'm not working, I'm knitting. And Kevin and I normally sit and watch TV in the evening anyway, so knitting time, yay. I think if I concentrate on those, I can get them done. So that's my plan. I actually need to print out the PDF of the pattern that I'm test knitting. But that's a whole other point entirely. I think that's about it. Like I said, this is going to be a short show. I rambled for 11 minutes at the beginning, and then looking at my time on my screen, I went through everything in my show notes in 6 minutes. Oh, well, you're getting a short show. There will be project notes on my website. I will link it below in YouTube, and I will obviously put a blog post up about this with my show notes in the blog post. There'll be a Ravelry thread about it in the Ravelry group. Please join the Ravelry group. It's Serenova Crafts. Serenova Crafts Podcast. Just search for that. It'll be good. There's 3 members. Yay. Come on, people. Please join my group. I like talking to people. Come on. And if I get a response from you on my blog, on my group, it doesn't feel like I'm talking to the camera. Because from my position here, I have my laptop screen, my secondary screen, and my iPad with my show notes on it. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing the people who I know are watching this. So please come say hi, introduce yourself, leave a comment, even that, hey, good show, I liked it. It can be 5 words. Just please. So I will lean this way, as I normally do. All my information will go here. And yeah, thank you for watching. Like I said, I'm Serenova on Ravelry and Twitter. I am Serenova_Phoenix on Instagram. And you can find my podcast and my regular blogging at myknittinglife.wordpress.com. And like I've said 3 times, the Ravelry group is Serenova Crafts Podcast. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.